Hey there, hello everyone. I'm back with another video. This time I'm demonstrating a user interface mockup for loading screen for Lizzie. It's a XAML based UI. I had created a loading screen for Lizzie on Raspberry Pi and my desktop machine. Remember, because Lizzie would have a distributed logic engine that would span across all the computing devices present all around me. So I've just created a very simple loading screen. I created it last month, but didn't get a chance to integrate in the main code base. So still, this is just a mock-up. So let me just fire it up on my local machine first. So it's like, I think, I'm not very good at designing. So uh, um, because mostly I consider myself to be a hardcore backend engineer. So, but over the past 1 year, I had some opportunities designing and creating UIs, working with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And this time, I use some of that experience to design a XAML UI for Lizzie. I wanted it to be futuristic because it should look something like something from the future, and that's what it is. I mean, Lizzie is going to be a futuristic stuff. I would display the same loading screen on both my PC and the Raspberry Pi, and this is just a mock-up. I haven't been able to integrate it into the actual code base, which I would do as soon as I have the time, which by the way is becoming so scarce these days. So let me just, yeah, so here it comes. This is the default screen. Now this is the screen that I created. So the screen previous to this one was the default splash screen, which is provided by the Universal Windows Platform API. Now this is, as you can see on the left hand side, there is some sort of animation going on, which is very cool. It's like, with some transparency effects and so those kind of things, using some gifs and some background images, and yeah, it's like, pretty normal stuff. On the right hand side, you can see that there is a log which will, list all the events of interest. For example, if something has finished loading and so on. Right now this is all just going through a continuous loop, and dumping some numbers there. So but in actual world, it would be the actual events that are happening, and it will keep on dumping them here so that I can have a visual feedback as to what's going on and so on. So this looks quite great on a PC. This is full screen. I can even change the screen resolution, and hopefully they should work. But when the window size changes, which I'll demonstrate shortly on my Raspberry Pi. So let's just pause it here. Let's just stop it. And another thing that I would like to talk about is the great job that Visual Studio team has done in giving you a truly cross-platform kind of an environment, development environment. So I don't have to fire up a build somewhere else. I can do it right up from the Visual Studio, which is quite great. But another thing is basically the build process can be optimized, because what happens is that right now it just uh, does something. It builds the entire thing again if I change the architecture. But I had built this particular code base several times, and I didn't change anything, so it should keep that previous build in the cache somewhere, so that it doesn't do this build started again and again. And it should keep all that consistent, so that I don't have to wait for such a long time for having the build on a different environment, just because I just changed the environment. I haven't changed any single line of the code. It should not fire the build again. It should just simply go ahead and deploy it, rather than firing up the build. Although the deploy process is also not required, because the same build has already been deployed. But yeah, I understand that sometimes the user might delete it, the previous build or the previous installation, and then it would be required. But anyways, yeah, this time it's faster. Hopefully this time it's better than the previous one. So I think it should be up and running pretty shortly. Let me just bring up the screen here, and let's see when it's done. It should show us that. Yeah, so this is the default splash screen, which is provided by the Universal Windows Platform. Now this is, yeah, it starts, and basically, as you can see, the UI is responsive. It adapts to the screen resolution, And basically now if you look, basically it's there are the log window is on the bottom area rather than being on the right hand side, which is because the display resolution here is different and it's not having the same amount of it. Also the graphics, they are not looking very good because they are being displayed on a remote client. This is not the actual display for Raspberry Pi. This is a remote client that I have connected to, and that's one of the reasons. And the animations are not very good. The image quality is not very good. So hopefully I am hopeful that this would be better on the actual display that I would hook up on the Raspberry Pi, because that would be showing the real time, not coming through a network channel. And there are some optimizations. They compress the image quality. There's some latency. That's the reason it's not showing good on a remote client, but it should be better on an actual client. Now I guess that's all for today. I'll post another video, hopefully with the display, with the actual display hooked up to the Raspberry Pi, and see how it goes. And if it works really good, I would probably include it in the code base for Raspberry Pi. Otherwise, I'll just leave it out, because it doesn't look so great on the Raspberry Pi, but it looks great on the desktop machine. So in that case, I'll just have to leave it out for the Raspberry Pi build and only show it on the desktop. So um, that's all for today. Please let me know your feedback in the comments below, and keep watching. Have a great day. Thank you.